Phil from the Toy House in Jackson, Michigan, June 17th, 2014. CEO
We'll be your superhero today. That's the plan. Yeah. My name is Phil Wrzesinski. I am the president and owner of Toy House. How many of you have been down there? A few people. Good, good. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Favorite store, right? Just say yes. Yeah, if you haven't been to the Toy House, that's the store. Started in 1949 by my grandparents, Phil and Esther Conley. My grandfather went on to be the mayor of Jackson and did a lot of really cool things in his life. What's really cool about our store, though, is that all these years we've been in business, in 2009 we got recognized. A guy by the name of George Whalen, side right book called Retail Superstars Inside the 25 Best Independent Stores in America. And yes, we are in that book. He called me up in 2007 when he was writing this book. He says, Phil, I want to put you guys in our book, this book I'm writing. I'm like, you got Phil Wrzesinski, Toy House, you sure you called the right place? And he's like, yes, I called the right place. He says, I've been all over the world looking at retail. That's what I do for a living. He's the worst guy to sit next to on an airplane because he will not shut up. He'll keep talking to you and he'll keep asking you questions. What's your favorite place to go? Why do you like to go there? Why do you like to shop there? He will pepper you with so many questions till you are sick of this guy. But it was kind of interesting is every time he came to Michigan, he heard about two stores. Two stores in Michigan. One over in Frankenmuth. Anybody know what the store I'm talking about there?
Zenders?
Not Zenders.
No, that's the restaurant. Bronner's, right.
Bronner's
Christmas store.
Christmas store.
Ah.
And the other one was Toy House. Now, what was interesting to me is that I didn't really understand fully the impact that our store was having all around the country, all around the state, that people in flying into Detroit were talking about our store. But it was happening. Enough so that he said, Phil, we're going to put you in the book. Toy House and Baby 2 has a mission. We're here to make you smile. Everything about this store does just that. And what it did for me is it reinforced for me what we were trying to accomplish. And the same thing that we were trying to accomplish that my grandfather was trying to accomplish 65 years ago when he started the store. And that is to know your customer, you first have to really know who you are and who you're going to be. You guys have just created a business. This is a powerful moment in your business. You have to know what your business is better than you think you do right now if you're going to know who your customers are. If you don't know who your business is, you have no clue. I'll give you an example. This is a quote from David Hogan. He said, in the past 10 to 12 years, Walmart has gone from really not being involved in grocery at all to being one of the biggest players. Did you know that 1 out of every $4 spent on grocery is spent in Walmart? Mm-hmm. 1/4 of all the money spent on groceries is spent in Walmart. They have 25% market share of the entire grocery industry. Amazing. And they did it in 10 years. They did it in a very short period of time. So Walmart said, if we can do this to grocery, you know what we're going to do next? Fashion. They ran this ad in Vogue magazine. Walmart in Vogue. Yeah, you're all going, really? Yeah, they were going to do the fashion industry, what they've done in the grocery industry, they were going to take it over. That was what they did in 2005. By 2006, Walmart's facing its first month of declining sales in over a decade. Well, you can see kind of why, right? It doesn't matter what the price is. No one's buying an ugly sweater. Because what do we know about Walmart fashion? Isn't that really the truth? How many of you have been there? You've seen people in their pajamas. A friend of mine went there with her grandmother, and she was probably about 10 at the time. She's like, Grandma, do you have to wear your jammies to come here? They tried to do something with fashion. Well, fashion is not grocery, is it? Grocery's a commodity. We all got to eat. They tried to commoditize the fashion industry and it didn't work. In 2007, they gave up on this. They said, fashion is really not our thing. We figured it out. And they went back to doing what they do really, really well, which is what? Sell cheap stuff. And by 2008, November retail sales report yesterday reaffirmed that this is the season of Walmart. They had forgotten who they were. They've forgotten what made them so spectacular as a business and what brought them to the table. And they went after something that wasn't them. When they went back to doing what they did best, their business came back too. Now that lesson is not just a Walmart lesson, that lesson is from places like Disney. When you believe in something, believe it all the way.
Is that a real picture?
What's that? Yes, was 1994. We rolled it back to 2996. I was hoping somebody might catch that. Very good. Believe it all the way. One of the things that's really cool about Disney World, when you are in the park, you don't see the workings of the park, do you? You're in a magical world. You're in a place completely controlled. Every aspect of that business is controlled to make sure you have the Disney experience. In fact, how many of you have heard of the legendary tunnels that they keep underneath Disney so that the workers can move around the park without being seen? Believe it or not, they exist, and it took me forever to find this picture. The proof that this actually does exist, those tunnels. I don't want the public to see the world they live in while they're in the park. That's what Walt said. Understanding exactly who they are and being that with every ounce of their being. That was the most important thing that has made Disney the icon that it is today. Let's talk about Apple. I think we're having fun. I think our customers really like our products, and we're always trying to do a better job. You know that Apple has never, ever tried to make the best product? Never. That's never been their goal, to make the best product. It's always been their goal to make the product you love most. Even Tim Cook, the new CEO, said that. Our goal at Apple is to make amazing products that our customers love. Not the best product, just amazing ones, the ones that you love. They came out with Siri. How many of you have talked to Siri within the last couple weeks? Yeah, a whole bunch of people have talked to Siri. We love Siri. In fact, my wife talks to Siri more than she talks to me now. It happens. And here's the funny thing, even Siri knew. When Siri first came out, people would do this and say, "Hey Siri, what's the best smartphone on the market?" You know what she said? Yeah, the Nokia Lumia, 104G. Now, somebody at Apple found that out and they kind of changed the programming a little bit. Now if you ask her, she'll say something like, "You're kidding, right? The one you're holding in your hand," or something to that effect. But they knew it. They knew it right away. That's why Apple comes out with a new iPhone all the time. Why? Because they come out with one fast, knowing that it's not perfect. It's not the best. But it's got features that you're going to love. And then they find out what you didn't love about it, and they change that and bring out the next one. And then they find out what you didn't love, and they change that and bring out the next one. It's not trying to make the best one. It's trying to make the one you love the most. And when they stay true to that, their business grows, continues to grow. Lazy Boy, I was out in Monroe, where Lazy Boy's headquartered. You guys know that Lazy Boy's a Michigan company? Went out there and I was doing a talk for this group, and Lazy Boy was the sponsor of my talk, and this gal, Sue Van Secker, got up and said, "I love working for Lazy Boy because they've stayed true to their values for 85 years. They've never tried to be anything other than who they are. They've never gone down the wrong path like Walmart did and had to find their way back. They stayed true to who they were. And that's why they have been so successful for 85 years. Even Bronner's, I love what Wally said, my hobby of signs, displays, decorations, developed a full-time business, and I never went to work. He stayed true to who he was and built an empire on who he was. If you've ever been to Bronner's, you know it's a pretty magical, pretty cool place. And his displays, best in the business. Nobody merchandises better than that store. Unbelievable. In fact, all the stores that were in the Retail Superstars book, you could say they all had one thing in common. They all knew exactly who they were, and more importantly, they knew exactly who they were not. And by knowing who you are and who you're not, you have a better chance of finding the right kind of customers, the ones that are going to make your business the most profitable. Even Mabel Peabody, Knows who she is. She's a beauty parlor, chainsaw repair, nightclub. What do you think? Should we go? All right. So what I really want to talk to you about is I want to talk to you about a little chart that my friend Tim created. I helped him name it, so I give a little kudos here. The first order of business. You've created this business, but if you want to put this business on a good foundation, you've got to know, first and foremost, what are your goals and what are your values. The goals and the values that your business has are the foundation of everything else that you will do. If you don't know what your goals and your values are, you do not know what kind of customer you're trying to attract. You have to have that information first. Then followed by the strategic planning, then followed by the customer experience, then followed by the message you want to put out to the world, which is finally and lastly, the media, which you use to pass that message on. A lot of businesses get this one wrong. I watch this with my friends in the toy industry. They do this, they go, we need to run a radio ad. They start at the top. Let's run a radio ad. What are we going to say in our radio ad? Okay, that's the message. They do that next. Then they go, well, okay, well, if we're going to run this radio ad, then maybe we ought to do some things that we said in the radio ad in our store. And they go backwards. And they're chasing the elusive customer. They don't know who they're going after. When you know what your goals and your values are, then it's real easy to figure out. Strategic planning, well, we're going to do this to get to our goal. Customer experience, we're going to do this because it shows our values. The message, we're going to tell people what we're doing already. Then we'll find a meaning that works. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about goals and values. See, the myth in this world is that you're out trying to reach the right people with your business. We spend way too much time worrying about who the right people are when we don't even know who we are. If you don't know who you are, and you don't know what your goals and your values are, it doesn't matter who they are. We also spend too much time worrying about the wrong things in these. We'll talk about that in a moment. For instance, in retail, everybody seems to think the holy grail is women. Women are the shoppers. Women 25 to 34, that's where all the money is. That's where the women I need to get. But here's the interesting thing about that. Walk into my store on any given day, not everyone is a female. Not everyone's 25 to 34 years old. Not everyone has the same education level or the same social economic background. We get too caught up into the demographics and not enough into what they call the psychographics. So, let's ask this question. How many of you like that $100 bill? Nobody? Come on, raise your hands if you want a $100 bill. Who wants a $100 bill? Come on.
I want two of them.
You want 2 of them? Raise your hand then. Come on.
You can get 10 of them if you win the competition.
Yeah, there you go. All right, wait, good. Hands up high. Everybody that wants it, put your hand up high. Come on. Look around the room. Look at everybody. Everybody wants a $100 bill, right? How many of you are a $100 bill? You don't look like one, I'm sorry. No, you're not. Meg Kevin said, you're not a $100 bill. Not everyone is going to like you. You have to understand that. Here's the biggest thing in business that most people get wrong. They think that just because they open the business, they are entitled to 100% of the market. You won't get it. Walmart got 25% of the grocery market. That's about the highest you will see in any category for any company. 25% piece of the pie. If you get 25% piece of the pie, you're doing really darn good. But that also means that 75% of the people aren't going to do business with you. People that could use your product. They aren't, for many different reasons. As a retailer, most specialty toy stores like mine have about 3 to 5% of their market. We have about 12%, do a little bit better, but we have a pretty big store. But even then, that means that almost 9 out of 10 people in Jackson are not shopping with me. Think about that for a moment. 9 out of 10 people say, nah, Toy House isn't our store. But man, that 1 out of 10 is doing me a lot of business. That is very, very good for my business. The key is I have to know who that one person is that I'm trying to attract. And I have to not worry about the other. In your business, it's the same thing. You need to figure out who are you going to attract And who do you not care about at all? Because you're not get everybody. You're not a $100 bill. Not everyone's going to like you. But you look at the people that are going to really make a big difference in your business when you know who you are. Tommy Hilfiger said, I wanted to build a brand of clothing around my own attitude, my own lifestyle. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If you tried to build around somebody else's attitude and lifestyle, do you think it would have been successful? No. Not a chance. Not a chance. And that's what it really comes down to. As you are creating your companies, you need to know what is your company's attitude and your company's lifestyle. You have to know what are your values. I did a little exercise years ago. I went down to Austin, Texas. There's a guy down there named Roy Hollister Williams. He's not the basketball coach, not that Roy Williams. He's not the football player, not that Roy Williams. He's a guy known as the Wizard of Ads. And he has a place where he teaches called Wizard Academy. Fascinating place. One of my favorite places to visit. I love going down there. But he did a little exercise with me and he said, Phil, we got something we're going to do. It has nothing to do with your business. Nothing at all. I'm going to give you a list of words and phrases. I'm going to play 2 songs and I'm going to let you circle the 7 best words and phrases on this list that match you in your personality. Which one's the best ones? Go. Crank up the tunes. So we're bopping our heads along, listening to music, having a good old time. I'm circling as fast as I can, trying to read through. There's 108 words and phrases on this list. I'm trying to get through them all in the 2 songs that I have. And I ended up with these 7. Fun, delight of being, positive attitude, open, honest, service to others, relationship with God, and helping other people. He says, all right, turn these in. He says, Phil, I lied to you. And he said this had nothing to do with your business. It actually has everything to do with your business. He has found every time he does his list that these things that people circle tend to fall into 2 categories. Mine, having fun, and helping others. He looked at me and says, that's a pretty good thing to have if you're going to be in the toy business. He says, here's the really cool thing about this. Having fun and helping others are my core values. But they're also the core values of the store. Why? Because I'm the boss. And if it's important to me, it's what I'm going to talk to about my staff. It's what I'm going to hire for. It's what I'm going to train for. It's what I'm going to correct when that behavior is going to happen. Because these are the things that are important to me. And the things that are important to me are the things I'm going to put my energies into. So if you're not having fun at the store, we're going to talk. But if you are having fun and you're being helpful, things are going to be pretty good. Knowing who you are and what your core values are is what's going to help you understand the core values of your business, because they're going to be one and the same. It's a toy store, it's supposed to be fun. So there you go, you get to see my superhero costume that I wore years ago for that. That was back in 2005, and our goal for the staff that year was be your customer's hero. Now, I did that, and that was pretty cool, but I wanted to get more because I felt like I was missing some important elements. That guy named David Freeman was offering another class down at Wizard Academy, so I went for my second visit down there. Now, you don't know David Freeman, but you kind of do. You kind of know him because David Freeman does 2 classes a year, one in New York, one in LA. He is the premier screenwriters teacher. If you want to be a screenwriter in LA or New York, you better go see David Freeman's class. If you don't take Beyond Structure, you aren't going to learn what you need to know. Because David Freeman's that guy that can look at something, break it down into its components, and he did this with all the best movies that ever existed. He took those movies and he said, what made this movie so great? And he took the characters and said, why did this person win the Oscar this year? Why did they get the nomination? What was it about their characters? There was something in the screenplay that made it work. And what he figured out is that the best characters in a movie have 3 to 5 character traits that are evident in every single scene of the movie. And if you don't write those traits into that scene, the character's not going to be. But if you do, and you make it consistent, and you show their values in every single scene, that's the character you're going to love or hate the most. That's the one you're going to feel the most passionate about. He's been behind movies such as Good Will Hunting, Lost in Translation, Sling Blade, Mr. Holland's Opus, Legally Blonde, Austin Powers films. These are some of the older ones. I know for this crowd, maybe these are movies you haven't necessarily seen, maybe you've heard of. All of these had nominations of some kind. He's been behind TV shows, Simpsons and ER, Chicago Hope, Married with Children. Again, he's a little bit older. I usually talk to an older group with this, when I'm doing this particular presentation. But he understands the concept of the character diamond, the 3 to 5 traits of every character. And he came to Wizard Academy to tell me that, Phil, you know what? Same thing applies to a business. You have to know your 3 to 5 traits of your business. When you know what those are, and you show them in everything that you do, that's when people will be most passionate about you. Now, I already had 2. Ed, having fun, helping others. I had to come up with 2 more. The cool thing is, all we have to do is start thinking about our business. What did our business do? Well, we sell birthdays, Christmas, baby products for new babies. And that's 3 of the 4 most nostalgic moments in somebody's life, isn't it? Anybody have a guess what the 4th one would be? Got it? What would the 4th one be? Besides new baby and birthdays and Christmas. You got it, the wedding. And we used to actually sell silk flowers that people would do for weddings years ago, back in the 70s and 80s. So we even had at one point all 4 of the most nostalgic moments of people's lives. We had. So nostalgia was one. The other thing that we have is we do a lot of classes. We teach about how to shop for toys. We teach about how to shop for baby products. I teach a class at the hospital for new dads. So we've been doing a lot of education. In fact, I believe that every toy teaches. Every toy is an educational toy. I get my homeschoolers that will come in and they say, I need some educational toys. I'm like, okay, here you go. What do you want to learn? Because they all teach. Not all lessons are the same, but they all teach. So I had my 4. And I put them together in a sign. Having fun, helpful, educational, and nostalgic. That was my character diamond. And that sits right next to my desk so I can look at it every single day to remind myself the 4 core values of myself and the toy house. And that's what leads me to the next step. My goal. So simple. We're here to make you smile. So when you go down to the toy house, you'll notice that everything about the store is built around these values and built around that goal. Now that I know what my goal and my values are, now I know how to do everything else. The strategic planning comes in next. Now I know what to do. The first order of business, goals and values, I got that. Strategic planning, okay. Well, now I know who to hire. I love this one. Now hiring people who love movies and games as much as we do. They know what their values are, don't they? We are all about loving movies and games. We love them a lot. We're only going to hire other people that love them a lot. They know how to hire because they're hiring for the same values that they share. Google does this. Candidates meet with the right Googlers so we can get to know our candidates and what makes them unique, and they can get to know us in return. The Google process of getting hired can take up to 6 months. They don't care how good you are at coding. Well, you got to be good at coding, but they got 1 billion of those guys. Every applicant that's coming through the door practically has good coding skills. They want to know, do you fit? Do you fit our culture? Do you fit our values? Because if you do, you're a great employee. If you don't, no chance. Ray Kroc, he's the guy who founded McDonald's. He says, you're only as good as the people you hire. If you don't hire the right people to work in your company, it won't matter what else you do. It won't matter. You can spend all your time on your business plan, but if you don't have the right people on board, you don't know what their values, your values are and their values are, everything else is going to fall apart. That's the strategic planning part. The first order of business is your goals and your values, and then your strategic planning. And once you know that, now we get to the point, the fun part. Our customers, right people. Because the interesting thing about this is everybody wants to do demographics. Why? It's easy to measure. How many of you have finished 2 years of high school? Raise your hand. All right, so I already know your education level. How many of you have a job? All right, so now I know your social economic background. See, we've got these things. These are easy to measure. How many of you are female? Oh, I can measure that one too. We can spend all the time doing that. How many of you have a friend that is more than 2 years different from you in age? Wait a minute, you can't do that. Then you screw up my demographics if you start hanging out with older or younger people. How many of you have a friend in a different socioeconomic background than you? You can't do that either. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're screwing up my statistics here. How many of you have a friend that's of a different gender than you? Oh, man. See how demographics start to fail? There's a company down in Michigan Center. It's called Bras That Fit. Have you ever heard of that? Bras That Fit. So what do you think they sell? Bras. Very good. Who do you think they sell them to? Yes, very good. And you know where they advertise? They are the sponsor of Greg O'Connor's Big Show on ESPN Radio.
Wow.
Okay, wait, yeah, wait a minute. I don't think they sell demands here. I think they're selling for the women, yes. But they're advertising on a radio station that gears primarily towards men. But what's their message? If you've ever heard their ad, it says, hey guys, are you tired of hearing your wife complain about her bra not fitting? Yeah, and it's really, really powerful because they realize that for every woman, 25 to 34, in their demographics, those women have other people who influence them, who aren't women 25 to 34. So you have these friends of yours, different age, different gender, different education levels, different socioeconomic backgrounds. But they're still your friends. Why are they your friends? What do they have in common with you? You want to take a shot at this one. Your values, exactly. Exactly. They see things from the same point of view as you do. They see what you see. They feel what you feel. And that's what you as a business have to decide. What are your customers going to share your values? What values do you have that your customers are going to share? And when you know that, now you know who you're looking for. Because you're not looking for demographics, you're looking for what we call psychographics. People who share your values. And what's really cool about this is when all the customers walking through your door share the values you have, oh, it's a heck of a lot more fun place to work, isn't it? Yeah, it's a fun experience because you are getting the kind of people you like to work with. You're getting the kind of people you want to work with. You are getting the kind of customers who are going to believe in you and be loyal to you because they share your values. And that's really it. In a nutshell, that's really everything about business.